Do you want to kick off and tell us a little bit about who Kazoo are, who you are,
Okay, so
and why we're here?
Cool. So I'm Bob. I'm a software architect.
Pleasure.
I'm currently working for Kazoo.
Okay.
We are a used car startup from the UK.
Yeah.
We're launching in a few weeks, and hopefully by this time next year, your mum and your nan will have heard of us. That's the plan.
Okay. What's Kazoo's mission?
Cool. So Kazoo's mission, it literally says it on the top of our stationery, I think. Kazoo's mission is to transform the way people buy used cars in the UK. So right now, the used car market is characterized by sort of low trust and poor convenience, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a joke people have, which is whenever I say, I'm working for a used car startup, they sort of look at you and go, are you a used car salesman? And that says everything. Well, that tells you everything you need to know about the industry, but it's like a joke even to be in it.
Yeah.
So right now, if you want to buy a car, you've got sort of two routes.
Okay.
If you know exactly what you want, then you look on Auto Trader or Hey Car.
Yeah, of course.
There's one guy in Glasgow who's got one.
Okay.
But you're not going there, so you get the next best thing, and that's in Birmingham, but at least you can get there and back in a day.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know what you want, you just go to a dealership.
Yeah.
And they've got like 30 cars on a forecourt. And at some point, you're going to drive one of these cars around, and you're not a mechanic, so you don't know what you're going to look for.
Yeah.
And then eventually you pull the trigger, and you have to go in an airless room with some shiny suited lizard person who wants to upsell you because his commission is coming off the finance, right? And the insurance and the tire cover and the exhaust
All
polish.
the add-ons, so just piles it on.
Yeah, you don't want any of that, right? So it's horrible. People hate it.
Yeah.
So what Kazoo want to do instead is we're not like a listing site. We own all of our stock.
Okay.
We'll have about 1,500 cars at launch. You go to the website.
Yeah.
We've put all of our cars through a 150-point inspection process, so you know that they're good quality. You choose a car, you buy it, just like you buy any e-commerce product.
Yeah.
3 days later, we'll deliver it to your house.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, then within 7 days, you can return it. No questions asked, full money back.
Okay.
So my mate bought one during the private beta, and he returned it because I think on day 3 it rained, and then he realised that the windscreen wipers made a really annoying slapping noise.
And that was
from that point, that was it. From that point on, everything about the car just needled him, right?
Right. Okay.
And that's the kind of thing you don't get from a test drive.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So he returned it, and it was all good.
So a fully integrated Deliveroo for cars.
Basically, yeah. So we own the stock. We've refurbed them, so you know it's not going to be crap.
Yeah.
We'll bring it to your house, and we'll look after you.
Cool.
That's the pitch.
You're software architect. Talk to us about that journey from technology to customer, and how are you leveraging technology to give customers an unbelievable service?
Yes, there's a bunch of things. Right now, I think we need to think about there's sort of discrete categories of problems, right? So there's the business proposition, quality and convenience and stuff. Right now, we're focused on the website because you need to have a website in order to have any customers,
be present.
Right? But I think the interesting work for Kazoo will be on the logistics side.
Okay.
So I was at Made for 5 years. Made, the interesting stuff isn't the website, right? Anyone can build an e-commerce website. The difficult stuff is the supply chain management, the procurement, the warehousing.
Okay.
That's going to be even more true of Kazoo, right? So we've got 10 grand products.
Okay.
So we need to put them through this ridiculously complex refurb process and make sure everything's pretty and imaged.
Yeah.
That stuff's going to be tricky. So the technology, I think, the bulk of the technology work we do will be to support those back-end processes.
Right. Okay.
So at the moment, I think the biggest way technology supports us is in the ability we get to deliver, like the speed of delivery and the speed of experimentation.
Yeah.
That's why we've sort of taken the technology choices we have.
Okay. So from, I guess from a technology and infrastructure standpoint, tell us what is actually going on under the hood.
Okay.
So that customers won't see that.
Yeah.
Customers probably don't care how their food gets to them, how their cars get to them.
Yeah.
We care.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on under the hood.
Okay, so Kazoo is a cloud native technology organization.
Cool.
We're 100% hosted in AWS.
Okay.
And we are 100% serverless.
Okay.
So
nice.
we use TypeScript top to bottom as our one language to rule them all.
Yeah.
So on the back end, we've got TypeScript, Node, Lambda.
Yeah.
On the front end, we've got TypeScript with React.
Cool.
And we are building. I've been doing event-driven architectures, sort of like DDD, for like about a decade. So we're bringing those same techniques to an AWS Lambda environment.
Okay.
So the same kind of understanding your service boundaries in terms of systems that do some work and then raise events so other things can do it.
Okay.
We're building it on top of AWS Lambda.
Fine. Talk to us about, I guess, maybe some of the events or some of the challenges that you and the team know you will face, but using that 10 years experience of DDD, event-driven architectures, what can you foresee that will happen, and what advice would you give to someone building a service like this if someone's listening?
Okay. I think the biggest challenges I have at the moment are down to the pace and scale of Kazoo's ambition. Right?
Yeah.
So we built the first version of the application in 90 days.
Wow.
So we went from a standing start to you can buy a car on the internet and have it delivered to your house in 90 days. The speed of it is extraordinary.
Yeah.
So a few months ago we had nobody. We now have like 7 squads of developers all shooting off in their own direction. So the biggest challenge for me, I think, is in how we make sure those kind of technical visions are aligned and that everything sort of works out at the end. So most of what I'm spending my time on is those kind of socio-technical boundaries, right?
Fine.
So which teams own which systems and how do they interact with one another? Event-driven architecture helps there.
Okay.
Because what we do is we define the interaction between things in terms of events that one system is going to raise. We can publish like the schema for that. We agree that between teams, and that's the contract between the systems.
Fine.
And really, that's the only level of coupling you have between those systems, right? So there is some event with a name and some data. So you're not coupled to your endpoints or to temporal stuff or any of that. It's literally just a document that's going to get moved around.
Fine.
So if anyone else is in that same situation, if you're like trying to scale from nothing to 7 squads in 6 months, then I think the biggest challenges I think are making sure that you have a clear set of architectural principles so that people are able to deliver by themselves.
Fine.
And that you pay close attention to the ownership boundaries, like which team owns which piece, so they can do that without treading on each other's toes.
Fine. How are they broken up into 7 squads?
So they are roughly aligned to business capabilities.
Okay.
So the business capabilities we've got are like, we buy cars, we make the cars, better.
Yeah.
We sell the cars, we deliver the cars, we look after customers, etc., etc. So each team is aligned to one of those value streams, right? One of those kind of activities. And they are a full stack cross-functional team. So they've got front-end experts, they've got back-end experts, they've got a product owner, an engineering manager in the one squad. So in theory, they have everything that they need to be able to deliver an initiative from start to finish that's going to move the needle on their particular business activity.
Good. Okay. How do you create a relationship between product and engineering, or how do you, from an architecture standpoint, like to try and empower that? Because it's massively important in today's industry that they're so closely aligned. How do you try and push that through the organization, especially in 6 months, up to 7 squads? It's a lot of scale with the tech challenges. How do you do that, and what sort of challenges do come about?
Well, I guess we'll find out when we go live, right? So I think it helps very much that we have a product engineering team.
Okay.
And that goes right from the top, right? So the top, there's a CTO. And then his direct reports are me, who cares about technology. Ian, our engineering director, who cares about sort of people and line management. And then Louis, who is the head of product. And we are the direct reports of the CTO.
Fine.
So right at the top, we treat it as a single indivisible entity. It's always, to some degree, there's always a bit of territorial scrapping, right? So product want to own sort of the backlog and all the rest of it. And technology want to be given problems to solve. We're still trying to find exactly what that balance is. But I think one thing that definitely helps is we try and do a lot of collaborative modeling exercises. So we do a lot of story mapping and example mapping and event storming, where we are building a shared understanding of what the problem space is and what we think the solutions are. And then the role of a product owner then is to understand which parts of that journey are the most important to deliver so that we can manage the expectations of the business and plan around that.
Nice. Okay. Going back to some of the technologies and tools that you've used, we didn't actually touch on maybe some of the whys or the pros or maybe some cons that could come. Yeah. Talk to us about the tech and the tool set that you've got and that you've chosen. Obviously, senior management have said, let's use that. Why is that?
Yeah. So why serverless? I guess the biggest reason is that when you have a greenfields project, you want to be making those long bets.
Okay.
So when I'm making those long bets, I'm looking at the kind of 3 to 5 year horizon.
Yeah.
And starting now, I don't think the 3 to 5 year horizon is deploying Docker. I think the 3 to 5 year horizon is serverless.
Okay.
So that was our long bet. In terms of what we get as a result, is that speed of experimentation, right? So the other day I deployed something. I'd written some code on a train.
Okay.
It was like a piece of tooling to help end-to-end testing.
Is this the Thames link?
Yeah, on the Thames link, King's Cross, right? So I wrote some code, and it's a tool to help engineers test some things that are otherwise hard to test, right? Then I got into the office and I deployed it. And this thing requires an API gateway. That's basically a web server that supports WebSockets. There's like 3 or 4 listeners on those event sockets. Then there's a Dynamo table for some state. There's some stuff we need to do around security and authentication. And I can literally go to my terminal and type serverless deploy, and it's there. Right? If I had to do that on EC2 instances and had to provision a database and I had to talk with ops about getting credentials and about the backup schedule and like the security groups and all of that stuff, never would have happened. Because that piece of work wouldn't have ever been prioritized because the cognitive load of getting it done is just too great, right? So what serverless lets us do is drive the cost of that cognitive load of like infrastructure management like close to zero.
Good.
So the developers don't care, right? They just write code, we ship it, and it works, and they're empowered to do that.
Good.
And then the challenge there is to make sure that we provide guardrails, right?
All right.
So we're doing a lot of work on automated governance so that we can let developers go fast without needing that human oversight.
Fine.
So our ambition is to not have a full-time ops team. But the platform team is building out tools that help developers deploy more quickly and safely.
Nice. Does that tie into developer experience at all, or am I going off piste here?
No, it absolutely does. So
because that's becoming more and more fashionable. The developer experience role. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
No, that's cool. So we have a platform team. And their mission is to build tools that help teams deploy quickly and safely. So that's not just sort of looking after the CI pipeline. That's managing like observability stuff. We're doing a lot of work with AWS config, so that we can make sure that what you've deployed meets our best practice guidelines. We do work where when you deploy something, we automatically instrument it and add alarms, so you don't have to think about that. So it's really that stuff, right? It's taking all the stuff that developers don't want to think about, and automating it away, so that developers are empowered to say with their product owner, we think that if we make this change to the website, it will have this kind of effect on our metrics, so that's what we're going to go and do. They can just go and do it in the course of a couple of days, and they don't have to think about anything else.
Nice.
That's the goal.
If we touch on let's go into 2020, you're live. What do you think from a technology or even product perspective? You may not be able to tell us too much about product, to be fair, thinking about that, but from an engineering perspective, what do you think could happen next year, or what should you be considering for next year?
So
as you scale, I can imagine.
The big thing I'm thinking about at the moment is micro-frontends. So I know you spoke to Luca last time.
That's it, Luca Mezzalera. Here's a shout out for you.
All right, mate, I need to catch up with you at some point and ask you a whole bunch of questions. So we've been trying to align teams to these value streams, right? So every team owns a business activity. It might be say consumer finance, right?
Yep.
And in consumer finance, you've got a bunch of APIs that need to talk to various providers. Then you've also got this user journey you have to go through. And you've got some tools that customer service need. And if you want one team to own all of that, then at some point you have to say, how does the consumer finance application sit into the rest of my checkout journey?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we're looking at how do we actually compose our application from a whole bunch of these separate stacks.
Yeah.
And that drives you towards a kind of micro-frontends approach. The other thing I think that's interesting is we are looking at how we integrate with our analytics teams.
Yeah.
So we have all this kind of natural observability anyway, because we're raising events between systems and you can watch those and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
We're also introducing like back channels for telemetry.
Fine.
So that when you go and you make a search, we can say you search for X and return this number of results.
Yeah.
What that means we can do is our analytics teams can ask really rich questions like, how often does someone come to the site and we can't offer them any weekend delivery slots? How often does that kind of thing happen?
Yeah, gotcha.
And by building in this kind of telemetry and these really rich data streams, our analytics teams can go and do that without needing any more input from engineering. So I think those are the two big things, kind of observability and these kind of micro front ends.
That's really well articulated. Okay, so if you're an engineer and you're thinking about joining Kazoo, joining a couple of other organisations that are based in London, what do you like to look for in an engineer? Because I won't even push this thought to you, but soft skills becoming really prevalent. Yes, tech skills are obviously a hard requirement, but what do you like to look for in engineers that engineers can think about this and reflect on?
Yeah, so we have a very XP oriented culture, right? So we do TDD and we do continuous all the things and we do a lot of pair programming. I've had more or less the same interview process for the last decade. So we do like a whiteboard session where we get you to draw your the last thing you built on. We'll talk through the technical decisions you made and why. And then we'll do a pair programming session where we'll get you to write some code and we'll do a TDD exercise. And it doesn't matter too much if you don't have great TDD skills. Because really the two things we're looking for in that session are, one, you are able to form a consistent mental model of the problem and explain what you're doing. And two, you're not an asshole. Because we can teach you most of like the coding stuff, right? What we want to know is can you work effectively with others and explain this complex thing you're trying to build as you go. And I think that's really key, right?
How do you calibrate for non-arsehole in an interview? And what signs do you look for in engineers? You've probably you've worked with bundles of engineers. What do you look for that tells me this guy could be a little bit toxic?
Yeah, it's tricky, right? So it's difficult because a lot of the time you have that hunch, right? You come away from an interview and you think, I don't want to work with that person and I don't really know why. But that's very difficult because obviously you need to be able to give meaningful feedback. So things we try to do are we will try and guide the candidate down a particular path. So if we think maybe their TDD skills aren't up to scratch in one area, we'll give them some coaching during the session. Good candidates will lap that up, right? They'll be like, oh, that's cool, and you can show them something and they're on it. I've had good candidates where they've come in with no TDD skills whatsoever, and by the end of it, they're writing tests and refactoring and they've got it, and I'm like, yes, you. I've had candidates where at the end of the session you're like, we have to stop now, and they're like, no, I need to finish this. You're like, yes, you, absolutely, right? So it's those little things, right? Like you get a sense of what someone is like to work with, and that's what you want.
Good, I love that. Okay, do you have any message that you would like good question to add to
the end? Man, any message? My message to humanity? No, not really. Obviously, we're hiring. You should come and work with me. It's a lot of fun and it's really fast, and I need a lot of engineers. So
there you go.
Get stuck in.
Join on board, Bob Gregory. Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode. Massively appreciate you listening and checking in with us. If you want to find out more about us and what we're doing, please check us out on social media. What we're trying to do at Engineers is build a community to drive knowledge sharing and experiences. On Twitter, we can be found Engineers.io. It's no_. We've also got a website which is engineers.io. These links will all be posted in the description. Any feedback and comments are massively appreciated. We're always looking to improve on where we can. Thanks, guys.